And we're live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Shredcast, episode 23, where Temp came to me in like a last second kind of recording. This is like right before the beta. In fact, I'm going to put this up tonight too, so that for those of you who have to go to work and have to, kind of wait till they get home, they have something to listen to about this. But Temp, you DM me real fast and you're like, hey, I changed my mind. I want to do something. I want to do a recording with you about MK. So what's this all about, bro?
Well, to clarify, I did say Friday, so it's a little. I was like, "Hey, dude, we should do a post-beta review," and it's like, "Well, how about a pre-beta review?" I'm like, "I'm down."
Yeah. So yeah. I probably should clarify that I did come to. I did. So Tim did say, hey, let's do a I want to do something I want to do something after the beta. And I was like, okay, do you want to do something before or after? I wasn't quite sure. And then you're like, okay, let's do something, but the next time I can actually do like any kind of review that I have time for is going to be on Friday, like next Friday. And I was like, do you want to do like a pre-beta one then? And we'll talk about like ASHRAH and Smoke. And then afterwards you can talk about Li Mei. And then you're like, let's do it. Let's do one tonight and let's do one next Friday. So tonight's going to be a pretty short one. Temp is going to go to bed early because he wants to get up for the beta. I unfortunately have to work, but I will be on tomorrow night. And probably I might stream tomorrow night as well at 9:30 p.m. We'll see. So anyway, so what's on your mind, Temp? What's going on?
Well, this is like the last night we're going to be still in the dark about the current build of the game. Well, I mean, with the exception of the people who went to Evo, of course, but I still don't know how the new changes are going to feel regarding the speed.
And it is confirmed about what we saw at Evo is going to be the build that's in this game. The same build that was at Evo is going to be the build that's in this game. Yes, we know that.
So that's going to be really interesting. Still a lot of questions. I am excited, but it's not so much because of the game itself. That's more because right now it's Li Mei Eve. So, like, this is the first time I'm going to be playing the character again. Really, since Armageddon. It's unreal. It's very strange. So that's really exciting. That's something I knew in my gut for a long time this day was not far off. Like I said, I don't know if I've said it on your show, but I've said in the Netherkast that I knew Li Mei was coming back for a good while, just because she seemed like the logical follow-up to Frost.
You did say on my show that she is going to come, that that she is going to come back, but you also were like really hesitant about it.
Oh yes,
because of MK11 and the way things played out for that game. You're like, okay, if this is how the things are going to play out for MK1, then please just leave Li Mei out of it.
And it's funny because it's so ironic now because...
And to clarify real fast, Li Mei is on record as Temp's favorite MK character from the 3D era.
Correct, yes. I would say second overall. My second favorite character of Mortal Kombat of all time.
Of all Mortal Kombat?
Oh, yes. Second favorite.
So who's the first then?
Oh, Smoke.
Oh, okay. So, Smoke's your favorite character, Li Mei's your second, but Li Mei is your favorite 3D era specific character.
Oh yeah, by a landslide. Right. There's really, honestly, no close second when it comes. I love the 3D era characters. I like them a lot. If I had to pick a second favorite 3D era character, I would say Shujinko.
That's interesting. I like Shujinko because he's like Pai Mei from Kill Bill, but yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of gameplay potential there that could be realized, and I hope he gets some love in the future. But
that'd be cool.
Li Mei, it's ironic because with all my worries, this is difficult to explain. But I ended up regarding Li Mei, I had nothing to worry about. But regarding everything else, my worries could not have possibly been more justified. The irony is that Li Mei is the one character who came out unscathed. She's the only character that didn't become Kuai Liang or join a circus or do anything of that nature. It's like, wow, I am so unbelievably lucky and so unbelievably blessed. She didn't go to Li Mei school. She's just Li Mei.
Yeah. I mean, they
And
did
no,
completely change her backstory, like complete overall. So when I thought that they were going to bring, because we all knew they were going to bring back Li Mei, but when I thought they were going to bring back Li Mei, because we know Li Mei as like the young, you know, just the young Shujinko, then Bouraicho student who's like, you know, really acrobatic and everything. And then they brought her back as kind of, you know, in her 30s, maybe 40s, police officer kind of thing, you know. So it's I feel like they kind of, you know, I guess glowed her up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, to me, well, okay, so this gets into very intricate territory. Because let's start positive. So I'm really relieved that she's not screwed up.
Yeah.
She's not a robot. She's not a dragon princess. She's not, you know, like a completely different character. She's not Dairu. That's good. That's really good. So that's all great. I think her design is very inoffensive. It could have been worse, but at least they got her colors right. They got her face right. They got her hair right. I don't mind the age thing. As a matter of fact, that's technically a carryover from MKX anyway. So it doesn't really bother me. Yeah. The actress she was originally based on has aged up a bit as well. So I don't think that's too off the mark. It's not the direction I would have gone.
Kelly who?
Well, I was going to say the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon actress. She was originally inspired by. Well, she's inspired by that whole cast, to be honest with you. But I can't. Her name's slips my mind at the moment.
Not Michelle.
It's like Michelle. Yeah, I got the Michelle part, but
Michelle was the older one. Are you talking about the young one?
Well, the fighting style of the older one is largely in Li Mei's play style. And that goes with the weapon as well. I can't remember the name of the weapon, but a lot of that was inspired by that. So that matches up. Now, just because Li Mei is one of my favorite characters, and I'm super happy they brought her back, and I'm glad they didn't screw up anything majorly, doesn't mean everything's perfect. Right. I do think she kind of looks like a Skyrim character. That's unfortunate. Okay. I think I love her deception costume, and even if you don't like that costume, it's hard to argue. She looks like, she absolutely looks like a Mortal Kombat character. You see Li Mei in Deception, there is no question that is a Mortal Kombat character. Which in this game, she could be from anywhere. That's not great.
Yeah, the Deception. Which one are you referring to? The one with the armor? Or are you referring to the like?
No, the primary. So the cocaine pirate.
With the bandana and the thigh.
I love that costume. I didn't look sick, but I also love the classic costumes from MK2 and 3 for the females because I like that otherworldly assassin look. That Psylocke look is what I like to call it.
I was gonna say cocaine pirate.
It's the eyes. Like she's got bags. It's not a bad thing. It's fine.
I'm sorry.
I have so many nicknames for Li Mei. You have no idea. That was the safe for work one.
Right on. Okay.
She looks coked out. It's
not cocaine pirate. No, the bandana was the pirate part. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the cocaine pirate ninja assassin character. I totally get that.
It's the model too. She looks like she hasn't slept in like 4 days. But that's just a Deadly Alliance deception modeling thing.
And like I was never. It was weird because in Deadly Alliance, Li Mei specifically, her face was like she was supposed to be like 18, like she's supposed to be really, really young, and her face looked like a 35-year-old. Like it just didn't it didn't go with the rest of her. It was really weird.
It's funny because I think that works in Deception. I mean, we joke about the sort of like the like sleep deprived, like sunken eyes look. Yeah. But like, given what happened to her at the end of Deadly Alliance, that actually fits. Now, did they do that intentionally? No, that was probably limitations of the PS2 hardware. In addition to the game being somewhat rushed, I don't know if that they actually intended for her to look sort of like her face to look so worn out and sleep deprived, but it actually does fit with her being tainted by the Dragon King's essence. So, it was kind of like the perfect storm in that regard. So that's one thing I don't love about the new design. I think the way her moves animate are a little bit too much of a departure from the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon sort of like wire flight movement. There's just a completely different vibe to the Rapid Punch. It's much less Crouching Tiger and much more Ip Man, but that's not a serious criticism. That's I'm gonna sleep fine knowing they did that. I wish they still had that energy from the Deadly Alliance and the Deception games, but that's fine.
I felt like the flying rapid punch that she did in Mortal Kombat 1 was more like, it just felt very karate to me.
Yeah,
it less whoosh, less kung fu wuxia style, and more like karate. So she seems like a very, like, the way she fights is less fancy, and it seems like very strong.
So that's another. I think overall, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but I overall think the way, based off what I know right now, and this, I don't see this changing, because I know what her strings do now. I know what her specials do now. But I think overall, gameplay-wise, she was a lot cooler in Armageddon. That doesn't mean this isn't a good design. This doesn't mean she's not cool. But I do think it is a step down overall, in terms of both visual design and in terms of gameplay.
Yeah, I disagree with you.
This is a better game. Yeah.
Not on design. I liked her. Yeah, I liked both the kimono and the cocaine pirate design. I thought those were really cool designs. But then again, like me and you are kind of a little bit old school. Like, I kind of miss the girls being a little bit more done up in Mortal Kombat, because like you said, it's like when you saw Li Mei in Deadly Alliance, her primary, it was like that felt like a Mortal Kombat character, versus now it's like, you're kind of right. I think now also that the characters so far are like, I still think they are Mortal Kombat specific designs, but they're modern Mortal Kombat specific design. Like, that's old Mortal Kombat. This is like the new Mortal Kombat. I still cannot picture those designs being in like a Guilty Gear or a Tekken or Street Fighter. I can't see those designs being anywhere else besides modern Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, there's still that remnant of the classic era. But right now, I think the one thing that Armageddon Li Mei has that I think MK12 Li Mei doesn't is that sort of unique mid-range. Right now, from what I've seen, her game plan looks unbelievably similar to Sub-Zero's right now. I played a lot of Sub-Zero in the beta, which is not the worst thing in the world. I think, like, there's no doubt MK12 will be a better game than Armageddon. There's just no question. Yeah. So it's all about trade-offs, but it's also all about honesty. I can't lie. I can't say,
Oh no, I expected you.
Yeah.
Your Temp does not pull punches. So
yeah, this is a $60 transaction. At the end of the day, I'm paying $60 to play a video game, and I have to be honest about it. So ultimately, I guess that's kind of like my way of telling the audience there's a lot of moving parts here, and a lot of it's good. Really, the biggest win is that the character isn't stupid. That's the biggest win. The cop thing, I would not have gone that route, but it's fine. Like, a cop is not the worst case scenario.
I like it. I actually really like that element to the story, because it's like, oh, she feels like she failed. She kind of like stepped down because she felt ashamed, not so much she was, kicked out or whatever. So I actually really like that element of her, and she was just she's still trying to serve Outworld and the public by going and becoming, like a street cop, I guess you could say. Yeah, like I like it. I think that's a great story, and I'm glad she's gone that route. I think that's fantastic.
It's tough because all the characters she networked with before are mostly gone. So it kind of put her in a tough spot. So ultimately, it doesn't super bother me. But I guess just get all the criticisms out of the way so we can officially start the Li Mei parade. The last criticism I have is that some of her specials have been like, I love the cartwheel a lot more than I liked the forward flip kick. And the cartwheel is now an air only move, which has cool utility, but it's like Sonya kind of ripped that off of Li Mei, and that always kind of pissed me off. And the fact that it's now officially it's going to remain a Sonya staple kind of stabs me the side a bit. I hate that, but the move is cool. I rewatched the catch-up video. He doesn't say if it's safe or not on block, so I'm really curious what the frame data is going to be on that. Yeah, we'll see. But I don't know. I think the fact that it's an air cartwheel is better than nothing, so I'll take that. I was afraid they were going to get rid of the cartwheel completely, and for a while I thought they did. But overall, now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, super glad she's back. Hope she gets her Deception costume back. She looks cool. It's just relief. It's just so much relief that they didn't do anything really weird with the character. Because
that was your biggest thing when we talked, was you're just like, please do not like just completely decimate this character. Like you were really, really adamant on just like, you know, like this character is a staple of the 3D era. She has a huge fan base and she has so much potential, but please do not take that potential and go the wrong way with it. And so far they have not.
Not with her.
Natara has not come out yet. Like we have not seen her yet. So now I'm in the same boat you were a couple like weeks ago, where I was just like, please do not, like, we all have this envision of what we want Natara to be. We know what she was like in the 3D era, and this, like, unlike Li Mei, who has been at least seen in MKX, we haven't seen any Natara like in official Mortal Kombat media. Yeah, we saw her in, you know, the animated movie. We saw her die within 1 minute in the Mortal Kombat live action movie. But yeah, it's like, please, like, don't decimate this character. So and it seems like they're saving her for last. So I have a feeling it's going to be big.
Well, all I can say is good luck to Natara fans, because for me, like, I mean, let's be real. Between Li Mei and Natara, if I have to sacrifice one on the altar, sorry, Natara fans, it's been real. And they could reveal Natara next week. We know there's reveals coming next week, and she could show up at,
on Tuesday. Yeah, we're gonna get some reveals.
She could be dressed as a clown with clown makeup and big stupid shoes, and I'll be like, I'm sorry, Natara fans, y'all have a good one. And that's just the reality. I got Li Mei. Like, that's, my worries are over.
I got Serena.
Yeah,
I got Serena.
Yeah.
Serena's my favorite character in the entire MK franchise, and I'm a lot of people are always talking about, like, how do you feel about her being a cameo? I'm very grateful, because I wasn't too fan. I'm glad she's back, and so far everything that is a part of her kit has been fantastic. She has the boomerang, she has a pop-up, she has an AoE. It all looks great. I was not a fan of that, like, very animated, like, hellistic demon looking thing that she turns into. I'd rather it just be her, you know?
Yeah. I honestly, I kind of hate that. As a matter of fact, I hate that so much, I will never use Serena as a cameo. But everything else looks good. I think her main design looks good, but as Benevolent Sun would say, I don't like the Futurama demon look. I think it looks really bad.
Yeah, it's, and if you looked at it like as a close-up, like I saw somebody do like a close-up of like the way she looks and stuff, and it's like her body proportions are so weird. Like, so weird. It like doesn't even look like, it looks humanoid at best. You know? Yeah,
it's just it's such a, like, I think it would work a little better. I meme the bald stuff so much, but in this case, it's really true. If she just had her hair still, it would look so much better, like a lot better.
But I wish they would have just kept it like Serena, just Serena doing all the stuff, not the, like, her demon.
You know? Well, that's also disappointing, because you pick Serena because she's Serena. So the fact that she doesn't even look like Serena during her specials really kind of defeats the purpose. Mm-hmm. Like it's like if Cyrax turned into a tank every time you summoned him. It's like, I didn't pick a tank, I picked Cyrax, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that's the problem with Serena. She turns into a tank. And I don't know. Like Natara, I wish the best for her, because I do like Natara a lot. But that was always for gameplay potential and design potential. I don't really have a strong affinity to that character, so
she's the funnest to play in I mean, in my opinion, she was the funnest to play in Deadly Alliance. Like, I played her the most in Deadly Alliance.
I would say out of all the characters I played the most in Deadly Alliance, it's such a boring answer, but it's just the truth, was Sub-Zero. I also played, I played a lot of characters in Deception. I played a ton of Sub-Zero in Deception. I played a ton of Ermac in Deception. I don't even need to say this, but I played a ton of Noob Smoke in Deception, more than any other character. But I played a lot of Sub. Yeah, and I think one reason why Deception was super fun, though,
dude. Deception was so much fun. So I played in Deception Plus. So we played like Melina, Jade. I played a lot of Jade in Deception. But yeah,
that's a big problem with the communities. We talk about the 3D era like it's an abstract, like it's an event that happened. I think people forget those were games that we played that were fun. I mean, I played the crap out of Armageddon.
Yeah, I did
Smoke
too.
and Li Mei and
Yeah.
Reptile. I played a ton of characters. I did all the even Deadly Alliance. I played the least of them. But I mean, Deadly Alliance was just kind of a unique game that there was no online. I had to go to a friend's house to play it, and that game I mostly stuck to the Conquest, but I did enjoy it for what it was. But Deception is where it really took off.
And
So
the
I don't know.
Conquest was
Right?
cool. I mean, even though it was text based, it was still a good story.
I thought it was better. I actually like that Conquest better than Deceptions.
Whoa, that's a hot take.
Well, I mean, just Deception. All the NPCs are just mostly non-canon interactions, and I was like, eh. And then like having to unlock like Smoke's costume day one, I had to go to GameFAQs.com to find out where his damn costume was. I didn't love that. So yeah, just I mean, I don't even want to talk about character unlocks. That's a controversial subject.
I know.
So I don't know. I really hope Natara comes out all right. If she doesn't though, Li Mei is fine. But imagine, just as a thought experiment, pretend they revealed Reptile prior to revealing Li Mei. You have no idea how much I would have panicked. I would have been like, oh my gosh, if Reptile cannot survive the transition to MK12, what on earth are they going to do to Li Mei?
Yeah.
And Reptile is a completely different character. There is nothing left of MKX Reptile in this game.
No, not at all. Like he is 100% different, and I'm excited about it. I actually really like what they did. So
I like the human form. I think the human form looks good. It's
and I like how he's mostly in human form, and he only goes to like his reptile form when he's like doing a special move. I'm glad he's like his human form is his main form.
But there's no avoiding that giant lizard form. I mean, I don't want to harp on it too much because I know people do like that form, and if they do, that's cool. It just again, this is so completely divorced from what he used to look like. Like I don't know, like it's weird because he's like this really suave Anne Rice character, and then when he goes into reptile form, he turns into this fat asshole, and I don't know what's going on with that. It just doesn't look good to me.
Yeah.
I
wonder where they're going with it, like story wise. Like I want. It's kind of interesting because they're like, it is kind of like that. Have you ever seen? Have you ever seen that episode of Beauty is in the Eye of the Beholder in Twilight or Twilight Zone? The Twilight Zone. Did you ever watch that show?
Is that the one with the operation?
It's where the woman has
the face. We'll go on. Yeah.
No, it's where the woman has an accident. They had to operate on her face to try to make her look.
And they don't show her face till the very end. At the very end, they show all the doctors.
Face. Nobody's face is shown until the very end, and then she comes out like they take off they take off all the wrappings and stuff, and she's like this beautiful looking woman. But then you look at everybody around, and they all have like pig snouts for noses, and they give her a mirror to look in the face, and she starts screaming, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, she's hideous," you know. And it's like because everybody else is like has the pig snout, and she's the only one who has like a normal face. So I feel like that's kind of like Reptile's case. Like he has this mutation to where he can turn into a human, but the rest of his people, the Zatarans, who are all reptiles, they look at him like, "Oh, you're a freak," even though he's like this freaking handsome looking man. You know,
he says
he's the best looking dude. He is the best looking male character that like in any video game ever created.
But I mean, like every male in this game
besides
looks like a Dante model.
What's that?
Yeah, like every character in this game looks like a GAT model on the male side. They all look like Anne Rice characters.
Yeah.
But here's my problem.
You can take every single male character in Mortal Kombat 1 and slap them on some kind of heartthrob bodice ripper like novel for women, and it's like it would work. It would 100% work. You know?
I mean, it happened to Ryu as well. They made Ryu much more like rough looking, and everyone ate that up. It looks better. I'm glad they stuck with it in Street Fighter 6. Here's my issue, though.
Okay.
The story itself, I don't have a huge problem with in a vacuum, except for the circus part. That's freaking stupid. I mean, maybe they'll prove me wrong in the story mode, but
are you talking about like that event thing?
No,
where the fireworks are going off in the back.
No. The bio that came out today, the full bio, mentioned something about circus. Now, if that's fake, I'd rejoice. But I was told pretty clearly.
Whose bio?
Reptile's
bio?
Yeah.
It came out today?
Well, it might have been yesterday, actually.
Okay, keep talking.
We may have to edit all this out if this is wrong. So if that's the case, I apologize in advance. But that is the word on the street, is that he did join the circus.
The ability Reptile left home to make his future elsewhere. That's all it says, is that he made his future elsewhere. At least on the Mortal Kombat website. But
let's see then. Let me check the Discord real quick.
Got it.
So if you go to gripe section in the Netherkast Discord, everyone's talking about the circus aspect of the bio.
I can't.
And I can link that.
Gotcha.
Well, that's cool. We'll put a bookmark in that for now. But
yeah.
let's assume there's no circus stuff at all. There's still a giant core problem. And that's the fact that Reptile finally turns good.
Yeah.
And it's not the same Reptile. And that's really disappointing. So the MKX Reptile who we wanted to turn good doesn't exist anymore. Instead, they swapped him out with a stunt double, who's a completely different person. And now he's kind of like, carrying that banner.
Okay.
So we don't even really get to enjoy that moral transformation of now Reptile's fighting with the good guys. Which technically happened in the comics anyway. He joined Kotal. In theory, he already was a good guy.
Yeah.
He just never showed him.
Kotal was the enemy of Lena, who was a bad guy, and then later on was the enemy of... Kotal was... I mean, he was kind of like a neutral party, but he was still technically like on the good side, I guess.
I would say by MK11 he was unambiguously good, but in the comic, in MKX, in the story mode, he's kind of I would not call him good. I do not qualify him as good. But in the comic, he seems Reptile. That is, he seems loyal to Kotal and seems to be working on the side of not Shao Kahn, which is such an improvement for that character. But if you wanted the full face turn for Reptile, I personally can't enjoy it because this feels like a completely different character. I feel good because Rain, as much as they changed him, still feels like Rain to me, despite all the changes.
Yeah.
I don't see any Reptile in this character. This is just a completely different dude.
Right. So, okay. So, I mean, yeah. Initially, when you DM'd me, you were like, you want to talk about Li Mei, Smoke, and ASHRAH. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got into mostly Reptile. Li Mei, Reptile, and stuff like that. Okay, so what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Smoke and ASHRAH. So what did you have to say about? Let's start with Smoke.
So Smoke, I think looks fun.
Okay.
His design is very much modeled after MKX Triborg Smoke. It's the same sort of mix. Well, not the same. It's a very similar mix-up meta that carries over. I do like his specials better than Triborg. I like the fact that the phase can be used more offensively. The cancel is cool in theory. We'll see how practical that ends up being. And I like the fact that Human Smoke can now do the Cyber Smoke Telepunch. That's kind of tight.
Yeah.
His design, we don't need to... Well, actually, I don't think I've ever gone over on your show, but I do still have problems with the design. I think once we saw it like in-game, in action for an extended period of time, the lack of contrast between the gray Ninja V and the what should be a black Ninja costume is really bad. I think it looks like gray on gray. It does not look good.
Yeah, I noticed in my own thumbnail, like I used Smoke in the end with Smoke and Sector, the wind pose. And I used that in one of my thumbnails, and the more I looked at it, I'm like, it blends in so bad with with everything in the back. I wish they would have either made the gray more like, it's kind of hard because Smoke technically is like gray, gray silver, so that is his colors. So I don't know how they would have emphasized that more.
Just make the costume darker. Just make the ninja suit underneath the V. Just more black. I don't know, because I mean, you see such contrast with Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Right.
I don't know why they didn't go that route with Smoke. It's very strange because gray doesn't pop unless there's a darker color emphasizing it. In this case, it would have to be black. So I don't know.
Yeah. I'm looking even at your logo right now in the Shredcast on my OBS. It's like I'm using gray for your name at your request.
Yeah.
And because it's a black background, it pops out really well.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that I completely understand. His design, I don't have a problem with his design. I like that he's gray. I like that he has the link. I can tell it's a Linkway uniform. I would rather, like most people, we would rather have that long haircut, but I don't have a problem with this design. I think it looks pretty cool. And someone pointed out he wears that smoke mask because he is using quote whether practical magic means like, you know, smoke bombs, or if it means like he had to learn practical magic. But he can't breathe through smoke because he's not inherently like adapt to smoke, so he still has to wear he has to wear that mask.
I would say if they had to do the gas mask look, I think they could have made it look a lot better, because right now it looks like it connects to a feeding tube. And I mean, individually, maybe you can make a case for every individual element. But for me, at least not the gameplay, but at least in terms of design, it's 3 strikes and you're out. You know, you have the mask that I don't think looks good. You have the Ninja V that doesn't contrast at all with the ninja suit.
Okay.
And you have the bland ass George Clooney hair. And then at some point, then it's just okay. Like, you have to give me something, but really,
you're full of jokes this time around, bro.
Yeah,
I admit, every time you're on the Shredcast, I laugh more. Every single time that you're on here, I laugh more. I laugh more than any other guest on here. I mean, but they, I think last time we were on here, someone actually did comment down below. You made me laugh like how I did before, dude. I was crying laughing. I could not control myself. But you can't. I don't know if you were not looking at the camera or something, because you kept talking as if like I was still listening to you, but I'm sitting here laughing, and they're like, dude, I don't think Temp realizes that you're like laughing.
Oh no, I realize. Well, that's kind of my style of humor. Yeah. My goal is to tell a joke, but do everything I can prior to make you think I'm not telling a joke. So I try to slip in my jokes, because that's my humor. That's where the punch comes from.
Li Mei Cocaine Pirate's probably my favorite thing you've said. Like,
yeah, it's my big inspiration for humor is Mike Judge. So I try to carry the case of the Mondays with me everywhere I go. Oh gosh. And
you know what? Thanks for that. I'm gonna go watch some. I'm gonna go watch King of the Hill tonight. Thank you.
Please do. Watch King of the Hill. Watch Office Space. Binge.
Office
go
Space
crazy,
is
right?
One of my favorite movies of all time.
That is my favorite movie of all time. That is my
really?
number one.
Oh my gosh!
Not just comedy, movie.
Like,
it's Smoke, Li Mei, Office Space. So yeah, it's just big fan.
Yeah. No, I'm a huge. I love the movie. It's funny. My wife does not like that movie, but it's fine because I'll quote that movie.
I get it.
It's kind of like The Office. That it's super dry humor. Just like it's slow kill. It's kind of like watching who's that comedian? Norm Macdonald. It's like,
oh yeah,
only certain types of people can like Norm Macdonald. I think he's hilarious, but he's kind of that slow kill kind of.
That's also my favorite comedian of all time. So we just gave them all in here.
Oh man, dude, nailed it. But yeah, anyway, so Smoke, I like his design. I can understand why people do not, but makes up in his gameplay, because so far he has one of my favorite gameplays, like in Mortal Kombat 1. Dude, he has like pressure, he has mix-ups, the 50-50s. Yeah, I like how offensive his the phase teleport is. He has great Oki, and I like how you can EX his anti-air. And by the way, it's not just the anti-air. I saw a lot of people using that as a combo ender in the corner when he throws the karambit up, and you can EX that for good Oki. And yeah, he looks like a great rushdown character. You know, and I'm looking forward to it. I think his mechanics look great.
I think he's going to be a very good cameo compliment for almost anyone. Even before I saw the Combat Cast footage, I was saying it's looking like I'm going to use Sector out of all the ones who have been announced.
Okay.
Every other
the homing missile is probably one of the best things you can have for Smoke.
I think even the full screen like combo starter is also like that. The fact that you just like throw out a tele uppercut anytime you want, is very powerful. That looks crazy to me. Mm-hmm. See how much it juggles. It may not juggle as much as I think it will, but that is so powerful.
See, I think that Serena's going to be really good because she has her boomerang for combo extenders. She has her pop up the same exact way as Sector does, and also she has the AoE. So I think Serena's going to be really good Smoke.
I think so too. I think any character who has a high-low starter is going to be very powerful with some sort of a really strong ambush cameo. There is the issue of the knife.
You don't like the karambit?
I'm really sad that
Mhm.
Smoke is now the knife guy. Because that's really my biggest issue with MK12 Smoke is they took the thing that was most unique about him
Mhm.
and almost removed it entirely. He's mostly practical outside of the phases. And they gave him something that literally any other character could do with enough training.
Mhm.
I don't know why they did that. I think I loved Smoke because he was a wisp who was able to fight and could incorporate that elemental style into his attacks. And
Yeah.
now he's knife guy. I mean, let's be real. Anyone with a knife can be the knife guy. Kung Lao could have
Yeah.
been the knife guy. Meat could have been the Meat was a knife guy. I think if you go back
He
to
was
the beginning.
he was the cleaver guy. Yeah.
Yeah, just man, that it doesn't ruin the game for me. I'm still excited,
Yeah.
especially for Li Mei coming up in like less than 24 hours. But it's you can't not say it. Like you can't not call it out because if you don't call it out, we're gonna get more knife smoke in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. So that breaks my heart.
I like it though. Like,
That's
I
cool.
like
I
it.
mean,
I like
yeah,
it. I think it's super cool because the fact that he's using a karambit, which is like one of the coolest knives ever created. Me and my son love to watch Forged in Fire, and so even the other day we were watching something on it because I don't know if you know like the platform of Forged on Fire. They create a knife, and then the winners of the top two of the four get to go home to their own forge and make like some kind of big grand, whether it's like a cutlass or some kind of bigger weapon, right? But Forge and Fire they did I thought as a karambit. It turns out is a Cortana, which is a thing, and it's like pretty much a karambit from like a different part of the world, and it's a super unique and very iconic design, and I was like super glad that that they brought something like that in. Same thing with the Kasurigama for Scorpion.
I mean, if it were me, I would have given that to say. I know people don't like the knives with Serena, but I would have given something like that to Serena, to be honest with you. I think because she's already kind of like a mobile character.
They did.
Um,
They gave her sickles.
well, I think best of both worlds. Replace the sickles with the knife. The name slips me right now. The Karam,
Karambit.
the Karambit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah, and you have a knife character, but literally any character could have wielded that knife. I think you could have even given it to Havoc
Yeah.
technically.
I think that knife is going to play some part in his past. Like that's the knife like
Well, he
his
lived to
dad gave
hunt.
him. Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably going to play some sort of part there. I hope it does. I think it'd be super cool because it'd just be weird if it was just like random knife guy.
Well, that's kind of my criticism.
Yeah.
That's where I'm coming from mostly. It's just man, I really miss the elemental stuff. But it's not a deal breaker. I'm still gonna play Smoke. I'm really excited about the cameos, especially the rumored ones. We can't speak too much on that, but if that ends up being true, that's a huge win for me.
Right.
And then yeah, overall Smoke's gameplay looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the fact that you can make everything he does safe with a cameo means he's going to be fairly powerful.
Mhm.
The cancels are the only thing where I like the idea a lot, but I don't know if that's going to be if all his cancel setups are reactable. It's all for naught, but we'll see. And also, maybe they should be reactable. The character looks pretty strong right now. I don't know if he should be stronger. It's not obvious to me that should be the case. So
Yeah.
Li Mei overall is definitely going to be my main, not Smoke. But I'll play both. I never played as one character.
Real fast, I just realized something that I totally made a mistake on the Shredcast outlook that the whole thing that everybody, the audience that you guys are looking at, excuse me, I put a Twitch logo for Nethercast when I should have put a YouTube logo, and I apologize about that. So just to let you guys know, if you're looking up Nethercast, you can look them both up on Twitter and on YouTube. And that was an accident. I did not mean to do that. I apologize. So, and it's just too late to change it now. So,
It's good. I mean, Twitch is cool too. We like Twitch.
Maybe I like Twitch. Yeah, maybe I can. Maybe I can change it. And
no, it's fine. No, I'll leave it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'll probably go change it anyway. So, anyway, but okay. So, ASHRAH. All right, I'm excited about this one because ASHRAH looks really cool. In Mortal Kombat 11, I know it's like not our favorite game, but I actually played a lot of Katana. She was my main there, and she's more of like a footsies mid-range kind of character. So to me, ASHRAH looks really cool, and I'm really excited about that character. So how come you want to talk about ASHRAH?
I like the versatility. I really think if you're going to give someone a stance, ASHRAH makes a lot of sense. And I played a lot of Blue Beetle back in Injustice 2.
Okay.
So something about ASHRAH just feels like home to me.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be playing the character at first. The only reason I would learn ASHRAH is if someone comes up to me and requests tutorial content. And that happens a lot. People will say, hey, Temp, would you make a video kind of demonstrating how to play this character?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm done. I'm actually doing that for Marvel Infinite in a few days after the beta. So that's going to be very difficult. I had to relearn a lot of things to make a video for that. But so that's the only reason I probably learned her, just because my plate's already so full.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in MK11, I played up to like 9 characters. I'm not doing that this game. I'm going to learn maybe 3 at max. I'm going to learn 4 because with the cameos.
That's going to be the case for a lot of people, though. Because of the fact that there are so many cameos, that I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be like, okay, I like to play Smoke, but I like to play Smoke Sector, but I'm going against a Zoner, so I might have to play Smoke Sub-Zero this time around, Smoke Scorpion, or pick whoever. So I think a lot of people are going to be sticking to like maybe their 3 characters in rotation, and they're just going to be rotating around different cameos. You know?
Yeah, I'm never gonna. Yeah,
it's like Jay Wong, because he's Jay Wong, can get master rank in every character in Street Fighter 6, and I don't think that's going to be the case in Mortal Kombat for most people. And take now, Jay Wong is Jay Wong, you know. Same thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, you know, there's going to be Ninja Killa, Rewind, Sonic, Tweety, like all the different, you know, the Chileans. They're probably going to go through the entire roster and learn the entire roster, which is fine. But I think for most people, we're not just going to have, you know, everyone who can play 9 different characters like they could in Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11. I think this time around it's going to be like 2 or 3 characters that they know that they're going to deep dive on and have to rotate through different cameos with those characters.
I think for this game, I'm never going to be able to get out of the lab. I'm going to be so busy just testing stuff. And I love that, honestly. Yeah. One of the coolest things about MK12 is that even if I ultimately don't like the meta or the balance, I can training mode this game probably for hours upon hours. So it's going to be cool fighting fighters. Yeah, oh man, I played so much DBFZ at work.
But just in the lab, I could go in the lab for hours. Dude, you can go online and go on Twitter and stuff and look up Dragon Ball Fighters pros and content creators, and there will just be videos upon videos of like TODs without spark, you know, or sparking, you know, like all these different videos, like not them actually playing people online. There'll be videos of them like coming up with all these gnarly ass combos, dude. It's freaking sick. I love it, dude. I'm glad.
It's sick, but it's also tragic because a lot of that stuff probably doesn't work because of the recent patches.
Not at all. It does not work at all. At all. But it's so fun to watch. It's so fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I already have ideas too. I really think, well, I don't want to sidetrack too much from ASHRAH, but I think it's unfortunate they did not add more cameos to the beta. I think the roster of primary characters is fine.
Yeah.
I think like 6, 8 characters. I can't remember.
I think that even.
Well, I would have added like 10 cameos, honestly, because that's balancing data. They could have used that. They could have really. That would have been a great like test area to see what was problematic and what wasn't. And I think the smaller.
I think that's where they're going to use the pre-release though, because you can if you got premium edition, you can play the game 5 days prior to its release, and I think they're going to use those 5 days to like, you know, get balancing data.
It's technically possible, but I'd be very surprised because what will happen is there will be day 1 tournaments all over the country, all over every country.
Oh yeah.
And if there's like a day 1 patch based off the 5-day pre-release, I think a lot of people would be very upset.
Yeah.
It's just when you wake up one day and suddenly your Havoc setup doesn't work anymore. Although something like that kind of happened to Collector in MK11. Something very similar to that. So I don't know. I'm really excited to try the character. Yeah. ASHRAH, yes. Yeah.
You're really excited to try the character.
To lab the character. I definitely will not be taking her into sets though. Because really, I never had any personal like attachment to ASHRAH. I always liked the idea of ASHRAH, but I never really played the character very much.
Right.
Although she's always had a place in my heart because like there was a big debate over Smoke's moral alignment in the classic games, and ASHRAH's Deception ending once and for all showed that Smoke was a good guy, and the argument was over, and anyone who said he wasn't is dumb. Forever. We have ASHRAH to thank for that. There was just no ambiguity left. Smoke is a good guy.
Yeah.
And her ending is to thank for that. So I've always had like a special spot in my heart for ASHRAH. But gameplay wise, like Li Mei, I played the shit out of that character. ASHRAH, it's just like back in 2004 when the game came out, I labbed it, and that was about it.
She was low tier back in the day. So she wasn't very good back then.
That sounds right. Yeah. I'd never heard about any ASHRAH tech like I did with like Noob Smoke or Sub-Zero.
And is it ASHRAH or ASHRAH? Am I saying it right?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no clue.
I don't know, because people in the comment section in some of my YouTube shorts, I like for the first so in my Melina YouTube short, I was pronouncing Kitana, and because that's how I've always pronounced it, and people are like giving me crap for that. And same thing with I've always pronounced King Jared as King Gerard. That's how I
actually don't know which one's right. I have no clue which one's correct.
Well, it's spelled Jerrod, so I always said Gerard because it's Mortal Kombat, so they're probably going to pronounce things a little bit differently, and also it's like phonetically that just makes sense.
Yeah, scared, scarred, stare, starred.
Yeah. So I always said King Gerard, and then everybody, like a bunch of people commented down in my Katana short, they're like, it's pronounced Jared, and I was like, freaking A, sorry.
I think MK9 probably settles that case. I'd have to rewatch Ermac's ending, but I imagine they say his name there.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't know myself. As for ASHRAH, I mean, honestly, Kitana would actually be correct in most non-Germanic languages, but I have no idea what the inspiration for her name is. I mean, Katana is with an A, so I don't know if that's the answer there. So
yeah.
But if it is, I mean, if it is a Japanese phonetics, then it actually is Kitana. So it's a
because I always remember I remember Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat 1995 film when he's like Kitana, like really loud, when she's like giving Liu Kang some advice while they're fighting, like I always remember that Shang Tsung was like, he like yells at her, but he says Kitana. I'm pretty sure he says Kitana, but like really loud, or at least that's the way it sounds.
I mean, it's like Reiko.
Yeah,
I say Reiko, but it's ambiguous.
Tomato, whatever. Anyway, I spent too much time on phonetics.
Best fatality in the game, by the way, for ASHRAH.
Best what? I'm sorry.
Oh, the best fatality in the game.
Yeah, that's sick. The wings. Someone pointed out too. They're like, dude, wouldn't it be sick if every time she used a special, like wings came out? And I was like, dude, that would be dope. That would be so cool if that happened.
Yeah, that would be tight.
Yeah, like every time she took her sword and like that wings just popped out, even if it's just for like a split, like a second. But my take on her is because I like how she plays the mid range. I like how she plays the neutral. She's neutral base and she's mid ranged. She has a lot in her light stance, and that is the other thing that we were talking about, because I heard like Rooflemonger say she is a stance character, and then I was like, when I think stance character, I think of like Lydia. I think of like MK9 Sonya. And I asked you, I'm like, is she really a stance character? And you're like, technically, yes, but you got to think on a 2D sense. Like in a 2D fighting game, stance is like you go one stance, you have a way of playing, and then you go to another stance, you have a different way of playing. And the cool thing about go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. And it sounded like you were taking a breath to say something. But with her, I really like that you can be in the light stance, and that's like your mid range. And you go to the dark stance. You still have the utility and the ability to do that, but you also have the ability to zone, and that's what you're mainly probably going to be doing is going to the dark stance, do a bunch of zoning, maybe do a little bit of combos to get those stocks on them, or stacks, I should say, because stocks is when you hold something like jury, but stacks is where you put something on someone. And so you load up your 3 stacks, then you go to your light side and blam, just nuke them, dude. It's gonna be sick. But I think it's gonna be a bit of a, not a learning curve, it's just like I see it as very risky,
I think right now a character like that has a significant advantage, where I think ASHRAH, more than any other character I've seen, does not have to lean on a cameo as hard as other characters because her offense is not as committal. Unlike, like even with Sub-Zero, it was a big problem that if I had a string that was blocked, I'm right up in the character's face. I'm usually like -7. Yeah. And that's a problem because you're basically putting yourself in a throw mix-up. The fact that ASHRAH can engage from the mid-range without putting herself in that throw distance is such a big deal. But you are correct about the stances. Her stances are much more akin to like Zeku in Street Fighter or Gen from Street Fighter. 2D stances typically tend to be more like modes as opposed to like a temporary moveset that expires after you press a button. Like you said with Tekken. Lei Wulong is a big example of that. So I think she looks good. I think visually she looks good as well. I love mid-range characters.
But that's one thing we agree on because I have heard so many complaints and so many criticisms about her look, and personally, I like the way I think it's cool because it was really weird back in the 3D era that this angelic, beautiful-looking woman is a former demon who hasn't yet cleansed her soul to escape the nether realm. And I was like, okay, I like this design, which is really cool. And I'm going to tell you a theory that I have in just a second. I've already told you this theory, but this is more so for the is that she still has remnants of what she used to look like, so she's very angelic looking, but still in her eyes and in her hair, you can see that she still has remnants of her demonic form, or the way she used to look like that.
So I should probably preface, I think her gameplay looks good. I actually don't like her model.
Oh, whatever.
I'm sorry, man. I tried. I don't think it's bad.
You literally just said that she looks good. You just said she looks good.
The gameplay, the gameplay looks good. I like her mid-range. Okay, so here's the thing. Like, I don't think she looks awful. Like, I don't think ASHRAH should die. I just think it's really hard
She's too ugly
to make a character. It's the eyebrows, man. She needs eyebrows. If you give her eyebrows, she's fine.
Yeah.
I think whenever you take eyebrows off a character, they look strange. And now people will say, like, man, that's so shallow. Mm-hmm. And perhaps a case could be made for that. Yeah. But let's be honest. If Ryu didn't have eyebrows tomorrow, people would complain. Like, that would be a problem.
It would.
I think eyebrows are such a reasonable line of expectation. However, though, but it's not a deal breaker. Even if she had eyebrows, I still probably wouldn't play this character.
Any woman who goes and gets her eyebrows done, look at them in comparison to the way they looked. I mean, I've get the girl who makes her eyebrows really big on the top and she just looks surprised all the time, and the ones who gets them a little bit too low and she just looks angry all the time. It's like, you see the ones that clearly have tattooed eyebrows, and you're just like, it's bad, but anyway,
there's such differences, really, because I mean, there's ASHRAH who I'm like, I would not have gone this direction, because good or bad, I do think this is opposition to what she used to look like, but it's not a deal breaker. Havik is a deal breaker. Havik is too ugly to be played. I will not play Havik. I'm probably not even going to lap Havik. I think that I don't know what they did with that character's face, but it just looks like a normal dude with like his gums exposed. It doesn't look right.
Yeah. A lot of people just don't like the hair. The hair is the biggest thing.
Yeah, you have this like kind of zombie guy, but not really. And then he has like a $50 haircut. What's going on here?
Yeah, he has that emo comb over. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, not again. That is not my race. I do not have a horse in the running for Havik, so it's fine. My character's been a Havik fan. I'll just tell people that, and I am more than happy to say that, because I remember during one of my streams, that I rarely do streams and I need to do them more. But someone asked me, is there one character that you just don't care about in Mortal Kombat, that you just don't care if they return? And my answer is always Havik. Like, everybody is always obsessed with Havik, but if you go back and watch the Deception story, he's just kind of like, he could be a side quest to the Deception story. He totally could. And I've just never been a huge Havik fan, but the thing is, I will take the stance of, like, I personally don't like him, but I'm glad he's in the game because I know a lot of people are. A lot of people are fans.
I think the appeal of Havik, other than the design, I do like the design.
He's very Mortal Kombat. He's a very Mortal Kombat character.
Oh, extraordinarily. Yeah. But he's also uniquely Mortal Kombat in the sense that he's one of the only actual neutral characters in the game where he can fight on either side. So you have characters that are like Scorpion was always said to be neutral back in MK1, 2, and 3.
I remember
but he worked for Khan. Like you could be neutral all day, but you're on the payroll for Shao Kahn. Havoc can do whatever he wants. He's the one who led the Warriors to Onaga in Deception. So he actually does have that flexibility in the story to play any role that he needs to.
Yeah.
That's one thing that's appealing about him. But I also think even more so than Shujinko, Havoc is the definitive MK Deception character. Not 3D era character, but he is, to me, the most deception-y deception character that ever deceptioned, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's just so deception-y. And I think, for me, that's a big appeal. I regret not putting him in A tier when we did the Netherkast tier list. So, yeah, I think there's also that magic. Just how to me, for Deadly Alliance, it's Nitara. Nitara is as Deadly Alliance-y as they get.
Yeah. I would argue
because it's not Drummond
Frost as well.
Yeah, it can't be Boraicho either because Boraicho, it was in both Deception and Deadly Alliance, so he's kind of disqualified from that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But Frost is interesting because she's in that Sub-Zero territory where it's. I think she kind of has her own little island to herself because of that.
Yeah.
But Havoc is just so like 2004 Deception to me. And that's really appealing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of my Havoc friends are in mourning. So I hope it's probably too late, but I hope they fix him up a bit.
Yeah, and I kind of like his whole demeanor too was really strange because he was like, you know, you will choose Havoc either willingly or by force, and I was like, okay, I kind of now miss the whole, you know, kind of subtle, very like, you know, calm demeanor that he used to have back in Deception.
Yeah, you know, Havoc is so chill, and I think it's another reason people like him. Havoc is so relaxed and calm. It's like, what do you mean there's no chaos? What the hell, man? He's like the dude from Big Lebowski. And so this really angry Havoc doesn't
your
really
opinion,
resonate.
Man. Yeah.
Exactly. That's just your opinion, Hotaru. Yeah, just
yeah.
So I think people miss that as well. Also, this is something I take very personally. Anarchy and chaos are not the same thing. Those are very, very different theories of justice. Just they could. There's just no comparison. Anarchy is not chaos. Anarchy is a belief that authority is not a viable phenomenon. It's a form of nihilism, but it's not chaos.
Yeah.
So that bothered the shit out of me.
Yeah, to me, anarchy is actually like it's a philosophy versus chaos as a verb. So, yeah, I could see that.
Because anarchy,
or an adjective, I should say. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, anarchy can have order. The idea is that the order is not coerced, is that there's no imposing authority. That's the idea of anarchy. Now, great, there's like European anarchy and there's like political anarchy. Those are not quite the same thing, and those are tied to different periods in history. But
I think this chaos thing he's going with is like it's kind of weird too because I'm actually this time around I'm actually really interested to see how Havoc can reanimate himself because he says you're going to choose chaos, and I don't know if that's like chaos is like his philosophy because he wants to create a quote anarchist utopia, and so he's a revolutionary now, which before he was more like he was just he would just prophesize chaos versus now he's like a revolution, which I think is very interesting. But also is that he can like chaos. Did he find this kind of like this religion kind of thing? Because that's what kind of chaos was before, and he can reanimate himself over and over again. You know, it's like I'm just interested to see what's going on. It's not something I'm like looking forward to, but I'm like, oh, this is interesting.
I don't know what to think, honestly. Here's the thing I should also say is like, even if Havoc looked amazing, like let's say he was just copy and paste from Deception, but with a PS5 coat of paint, he's still not really my character. I don't have any personal ownership over Havoc, so
yeah,
I ultimately do want to leave that to the Havoc fans. But
yeah, that's the same way I am.
But I do think like in terms of, it's like 2 Minutes to Midnight's not my favorite Iron Maiden song, but it needs to be on the set list. That's how I feel about Havoc. So,
yeah.
I don't know. That essentially covers really all my opinions. But I guess just to wrap up the Li Mei thing, I am often criticized that Temp is never ever happy, and I promise you, I'm happy. That doesn't mean I don't have criticisms, but I am overall very happy and relieved about Li Mei, and I can't wait to play her tomorrow.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. We were kind of joking about that earlier. You're like in a private conversation, you're like, it's funny how a lot of people were criticizing that they made Li Mei ugly, and the joke's on you because or the joke's on NRS because I think Li Mei's
she looks good.
Yeah, I was like, I think Li Mei's kind of attractive. So
it works for me at least.
Yeah. Before we go, I will say that my theory is that ASHRAH is known for the hat. She's known for having the hat. But yeah, I think that the hat is going to be the top of her redemption. Like, she's going to finally find pure repentance and completely cleanse her soul, and then the hairline, the eyes, and then she will get the hat as like the final icing on the cake, I guess, if you will, or whatever, saying like, this is where she has achieved enlightenment, so you could say, So
if they go that route, I'd love for that, because I do think it didn't bother me at first, but the more I watched ASHRAH's gameplay, the more I did kind of miss the hat, because that was a staple of hers. I mean, it's funny, before in 2003, I want to say, no, it was early 2004. Still, it was in the spring when we saw ASHRAH. We thought she was Raiden at first. We're like, what? And then
female Raiden
turned out she. Yeah, that's way back in the day. So,
but this was fun, man. Thanks for doing this, and just let you know, there is going to be a audience. There is going to be a part 2. We're going to come back next Friday, and we're going to go over a review of the beta and everything that Temp thought about Li Mei, because this is the first time we're going to get hands on her and be able to play her, and so he's going to go over everything he thought about her, and just the beta in general. So stay tuned for that. Temp, any final thoughts before we log out?
No, just get to play Li Mei for the first time in well over 10 years. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So first time since 2006, actually, and she died a very quick and gruesome death. Yeah. Anyway, thanks again. Yeah, thanks again for coming on, Temp, and until next time, Shred out.
Take care.